What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Dana Brooke puts Corey Graves on blast about burying her, Dominik Mysterio to end Papa Ray, the WWE's limit on profanity, Boudreaux's new character, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now, first story looks at WWE being cautioned about profanity. WWE fans have been noticing more and more profanity and innuendo on pay-per-view and USA Network shows Raw and NXT, but unexpected to hear it on Smackdown. In an exclusive story with Ringside News, it was reported that they were told that Smackdown has standards and practices which prohibits WWE from going overboard with their colourful language. They can get away with some off-color jokes like Roman Reigns' quip about John Cena matches being like the missionary position, but they aren't allowed to dive into any of George Carlin's 7 dirty words. Ringside News' Steve Carrier tweeted, WWE program is getting a bit dirtier. We haven't heard that they're getting full on TV14 yet, but saying shit on television is a start. Now, this has been obvious since AEW's recent influx of big names like CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, along with Dynamite's strong showing in the 18 to 49 demographic. Now, you may recall that we noted that USA Network reportedly approving of sexier clothing for female stars on NXT 2.0, as well as stronger language. So since this is okay on the USA Network, are we definitely getting a more edgier Raw, a TV14 Raw? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up is Dominik Mysterio looking to end Papa Ray? Now, that's a scenario fans are wondering about. The WWE continues to tease dissension between Papa Ray and his son. While it remains to be seen whether the father and son will eventually clash in the ring, Dominik is already thinking of taking over his father's legacy. Dominik spoke on the Out of Character podcast and mentioned, "Most definitely. I think the long goal here, the end game, is to eventually take over the Rey Mysterio name. That's the legacy within it. He's Rey Mysterio. It's only right to make it Junior. Traditionally in lucha culture and in Hispanic culture, that's tradition. That's what you do. I just kinda showed up and Dom Mysterio organically happened. Everything happened so fast." Now, there were rumors circulating prior to Dominik's in-ring debut that the third generation superstar would wear a mask, but that didn't happen. Since then, there's always been talk of Dominik donning a mask, but Mysterio seems to believe that there will be some sort of build-up before that happens. We didn't really get a chance to put these little things together, but we definitely have talked about it. He's mentioned before that the mask is something I have to earn along with the name. If one day he wants to pass it on to me after he retires, or he wants to make me earn it after he retires or something, whatever it is, I'm up for it. I know that name belongs to me and it's only right. Hispanically, culturally, it's only right. But whatever he wants at the end of the day, because he's the one made it what it is, I'll respect his decision whatever it is. As cynics might question Papa Ray's belief in lucha culture, pointing to him violating lucha tradition by losing his mask at Super Bowl against the Outsiders. Mysterio unmasked in WCW but donned his mask when he worked in the WWE, a move that upset Lucha Libre traditionalists. Now, Dominik Mysterio has been a surprise hit with the fans, despite not only being an official wrestler since 2020 SummerSlam. Now, there's no telling how he'll fare in the future, but for now, it's obvious he has big goals in mind. Next up, Dana Brooke replies to Corey Graves burying her. As some recent remarks from Corey Graves on Raw about Dana Brooke has the Blonde Bomber fuming, at least judging from a recent Instagram post from Brooke. Brooke battles Shayna Baszler on this week's episode of Raw, tapping out to the Queen of Spades. And then commenter Corey Graves suggested Brooke might be cutting her losses and added that Brooke hasn't accomplished much of anything. Brooke took to social media saying, "You cannot entertain everything regardless if it's indirect or direct. Let people do what they do best. Talk. Y'all act like y'all gonna die because someone said something about you. It's not that deep. You cannot stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. Once you entertain a clown, you become one, you the clown. I'm the queen, I keep pushing through. Watch me work." Fans didn't seem happy with Graves' comments and criticized him. According to Ringside News, Graves responded with a middle finger emoji, with fans pondering whether this was a response to Brooke, the fans, or even both. Now, we're already likely suspecting that this is a work shoot, as comments like this don't make it to air unless, number 1, an announcer is looking to get released, number 2, the WWE wants to get heat on an announcer, or number 3, they want to set up an angle. Graves has already established himself as a heel announcer, so we suspect number 3 and that the Raw viewers might be in store for Dana Brooke versus Carmella. As bad as it may sound, at least it will give Dana Brooke something to do besides kill time on main event. It wouldn't surprise us if Brooke even discusses Graves and Carmella's real life relationship. Next up, Parker Boudreaux's big beginning. Now, after months of anticipation, fans of Parker Boudreaux, the former football player with an uncanny resemblance to Brock Lesnar, are finally seeing him on NXT in what appears to be a slow build towards his official in-ring debut. Fans tuning into this week's edition of NXT saw the 6'4" former offensive lineman for the University of Central Florida standing in the crowd after Joe Gacy defeated Akimi Njuro. Gacy, who's been playing a woke character, smiled at Parker, who is now bald, who only stared back. According to Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online's Joseph Courier, Boudreaux is getting to wrestle as Haaland, but it remains to be seen if that is official. Based on NXT 2.0's booking, it appears Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard have a clear idea on who they want to push and who is going to be the promotion's new top stars. One example of this is Braun Breaker, aka Bronson Recksteiner, the son of former wrestler Rick Steiner, who's been undefeated since his NXT debut and is already scheduled to challenge Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship at Halloween Havoc's edition of NXT 2.0. Now, don't be surprised if Braun wins the belt and that Boudreaux's character gets a rocket strapped to his back as well. It remains to be seen whether NXT's new focus on big men, brighter production values and edgier content will result in sustained improvement in the ratings. An even more interesting question is what Vince McMahon will do if his personal vision for NXT fails. Next up, Braun Strowman talks that he was unhappy with his WWE release. Now, Adam Scherz, aka ex-WWE superstar Braun Strowman's shocking release in June still has fans talking, and now the WWE superstar is talking about the situation himself. When a fan asked the former Universal Champion whether he was upset he was released, he tweeted back, "Wasn't happy, but that's business." Now, he was a big supporter of WWE and said that he would never work for any promotion but the WWE. Now, while his loyalty seemed genuine, his release and that of many other wrestlers suggests loyalty only goes one way with the WWE. And finally, Big E talks merchandise that was too hot for WWE legal. And last but not least, current WWE Champion Big E is known for his big heart as well as his wild sense of humor. His incredible imagination led to him suggesting a t-shirt that would raise eyebrows and hopefully bring in the bucks. During an interview with comicbook.com, he talked about the big meaty men slapping meat meme based off a tweet about Big E battling Goldberg. We need to. I tried to, but legal would not clear it. So we're working on something else, but sometimes you just gotta push through those barriers, so we'll see. I hope so. Big E also discussed New Day teammate Xavier Woods and whether Woods would join him and Kofi Kingston in the World Champion Club. He just has to be given those opportunities that Kofi and I have been given in our careers. Once he's given those opportunities and you see him shine, you take him more credibly. You see him in those big matches. I hope he gets that King of the Ring opportunity to show he can really kill it. But once you start pushing him in those positions with main eventers and with top guys and you let him go toe to toe and you let him prove himself, once that perception changes of him, I don't think it's far off. I'm not saying by any means, but he just needs that door opened and you'll see how good he is. You'll see what he's capable of being a world champion, and I root for him. And while Woods has largely wrestled in tag team matches, his singles matches suggest he could forge a singles career, much like Kofi and Big E did. Whether or not Woods can make it to the main event level is another question, but as Big E mentioned, Woods is ready if the opportunity arises. Would you guys like to see the strap being put on Xavier Woods? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.